Moving on to a different topic. Dimebag Darrell. Darrell Abbott. Today is the 20th anniversary of his passing when he was killed at Rosa Villa in a shooting. Before I get into that, I'm going to give you a brief story about Rosa Villa, Columbus, Ohio. Under a 2-hour drive from where I live. I was actually going to go down there to interview him in Damage Plan for my radio show. I was excited for that gig. Ended up getting into the car. I get to interview Dime in person. I get about 45 minutes out. All of a sudden, the car starts to shake. I blew a tire. I believe it was in Mansfield, Ohio. And that ended my trip very quickly. I never made it to the show. There was a piece of debris. I like to say it was probably a metal shard that you just couldn't see. Ended up getting into the sidewall of the tire and pretty much shredded it. So I never went to the gig. I ended up having to go to find a tire shop, which I did. And they replaced all 4 tires. By the time that happened and I was able to even get in to get that done, I would have never made it to the gig. Wake up the next morning, hear about a shooting in Rosa Villa, and that Dimebag Darrell was dead. Folks, I got to be honest. When I saw that, my jaw about dropped, first of all, because I was not looking to wake up to find out about something like that. And I could have been at that show. I think about that a lot, actually. So I never got to see Damage Plan. That Damage Plan album, by the way, in my opinion, that is my favorite album he ever played on. Love that record. But as far as Dime goes, the guy is a legend in the scene. Pantera, whether you like them or not, and I certainly have a lot of haters on the Facebook page that hate Pantera. I got a lot of crap from people when I said that I didn't have a problem with Phil Anselmo bringing another incarnation of Pantera back by bringing Charlie Benante and Zakk Wylde in to play guitar and drums. A lot of the Pantera haters came out. Okay. Regardless of what anybody wants to say about Dime, whether you knew him, whether you liked him or not, whether you like Pantera's music or not, folks, Pantera waved the flag of heavy metal throughout the 90s. I saw them when I was in high school on the Far Beyond Driven tour. Far Beyond Driven, of course, is my favorite album by them. They were phenomenal. They were a very intense live band. And Dime had a huge influence on so many people in the scene, and he was well liked by not only many heavy metal fans out there who came out and supported him and Pantera during what we would consider probably the darkest age of heavy metal in the 1990s. His contemporaries had a lot of love and respect for him. When you hear people like Kerry King and Zakk Wylde and Scott Ian and a lot of these guys in the heavy metal scene who knew him and loved his music, this guy had a profound influence on so many people. Now, am I a diehard Pantera fan? Like, was I just like, are they my favorite band? No. But even if I didn't like any of their music, you cannot help but acknowledge the influence this man had on the scene, that he had on many bands in the 1990s, that he had on many guitar players, and the influence and love that his contemporaries had for him. I really, I went back and listened to that Damage Plan album. That thing is pure gold. Absolutely love that record. It had been a long time. I revisited a couple songs last year, but I actually listened to the entire album. Damn. I wish that band could have continued. And it's sad because a lot of these guys, and I've said this before, never take any of these musicians for granted. Some may last for a lifetime, or you may lose them early, like we've lost people like Dimebag Darrell or Chris Oliva or Randy Rhoads. Lots of great musicians who went way before their time. And again, Pantera, man, they waved the flag of heavy metal in the United States specifically, especially in the 1990s. Love them or hate them, they were one of the few bands playing super heavy music and doing well. At least in the United States. It's sad that we lost Dime. His music and memory will be with us forever. And I'm curious in the comments too, what is your favorite Pantera album, or what is your favorite album that Dime played on? I remember when he did some guest solos on Stomp 442 by Anthrax. Now, I have not actually even seen the reincarnated Pantera, at least the touring version of it. I hear it's pretty good. And I will say exactly what I said about Sabotage yesterday. Pantera's music deserves to be brought to a live audience. And that is a big reason why I am a complete supporter of Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante joining Rex Brown and Phil Anselmo and playing this music live. They may not record an album, but they are bringing that music to a live audience and to a younger audience. Dime's mark was made on the scene. It's never going to go away. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.